Hey guys, my name is Lee, and I want to try to walk you through something I've created here. This is my Fusion window, and on top of it is a text terminal window where I've just launched Claude, and I am talking to Claude. I'm typing to it right now, and we're telling it to use Oscar. Oscar is a AI-powered design agent that works with Claude code and connects to my local copy of Fusion through something called an MCP. If you look down at the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that our MCP server is automatically connected. And this server is something that Claude built itself, and I'll walk you through that later. So here I'm basically asking Oscar to design a stand that will hold 3 BIC lighters. And I would like them to be sort of perfectly sized. And it's thinking about it. So let me get Oscar fired up and run through the startup. One is we're pinging Fusion 360 to make sure that they're connecting. And down
I just
here,
wrapped up a session where I was helping
he's
design a
going to
big lighter
explain a bit.
stand, and the system confirmed everything's running smoothly before we dive into the actual modeling work.
All right, so it's asking me some questions about this model. It's clarifying, which is always really a good thing if you're creating an agent like this. Is have them clarify a few baseline points at least before they start designing. It just really kind of gets things started on the right track. I'm saying I want this to be designed for a full size lighters from BIC. And I said, I'll give you some creative latitude uh, to make some of your own design choices. We want it to be very interesting and practical and pretty. So this is processing. You can kind of see down here my 5-hour limit. I'm using the Claude Max plan right now. We're at 0 for the 5 hours. So you can kind of watch this to get the feel for how it goes. So this is, again, not the Pro plan, but the Max plan. This is the $100 to $200 a month plan through Anthropic. I really like watching this countdown timer. Actually, it's this time, not a countdown, but the other way. It's a timer that's testing and recording how long Fusion is, or sorry, how long Claude through Oscar is working. And I am not a YouTuber, but I think this is really important to get out there. So you guys be kind to me in the comments, please. And this is my first GitHub repo as well. So lots of firsts here. And I've been working with Claude Code for maybe 2 weeks at this point in the terminal window. All right, so we're firing up Fusion. It's done a lot of things up here. This just scrolled right on by. It's made some decisions. We're making a fully parametric model with a timeline. Um, and these are some notes that it's made to itself. 3D printer friendly. It knows me. So, Fusion can do so many things, but I often design things in Fusion that I'll be 3D printing. So it's kind of learned about me and my processes. So I want you to kind of watch here. This is where the fun starts happening, and watch the timeline build out as well. It's pretty amazing stuff. So we're doing lots of thinking here. It had a problem. The rounded rectangular sketch didn't close properly. You can kind of see up here what's going on. So, and we have, yeah, right down there we have a sketch on the timeline. Let's see, right now we're in Untitled 1 is the tab that we're working in. I think, if I remember correctly, it's going to, yeah, it did. It totally scratched that when it moved on to Untitled 2, and it's going to start over. So I would say, definitely this is not perfect, but it's pretty amazing. The fact that it knew it needed to start over is impressive. It's the little things, right? Parametric, it's true, build a fresh doc. Aha, we have some action here. Look at the timeline. A bunch more steps just occurred than it did. Staircase and body built. It's going into phase 3, which is cutting the lighter pockets. 4 minutes, 15 seconds in it. In this video, I'm gonna cut out some of the wait times, the thinking times, just to make it shorter. The total video right now is 40 minutes long, and I don't think anyone wants to sit here and watch this for 40 minutes. But I'll tell you, when you're making your own stuff, using this with Fusion on your desktop is incredible. All right, it's got some holes. If I remember correctly now, it's going to go in and do some filleting and make this thing kind of pretty. Yep, next step, apply fillets and finishing. And then it's going to name the bodies and capture verification. So naming the bodies, we'll see a name. It's going to start making names up here, which I think is brilliant. Also under the modified tab, if you pull this down, you will see the user parameters. It is naming everything, and all the sketches are fully constrained, which is much neater and tighter than when I'm designing, that's for sure. So here it's wanting to basically take a screenshot of itself. Can I do a screenshot and then can I read this file? So I'm going to have to manually press 1 for yes. I'm going to let it do its thing here. I really do like that it asks for permissions on stuff like that. You want to, you're taking images and looking at them autonomously. Having those stops and checks is fantastic. And just the fact that, sometimes you'll see the model move on the screen, and that sometimes it's me moving it, and I'll try to tell you when it is. But Oscar can move the model in the screen himself, which is absolutely amazing. I find this completely fascinating. All right, we're getting ready to do those fillets and finishing. There we go. Let's see down here on the timeline. You can see up here on the model. It's doing those fillets. And again, right now I'm doing a voiceover of a full 40-minute session I did yesterday. So that's what's going on here in this video creation. All right, now that's me moving the piece. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, my bit gliders are oval. It's not going to fit in there. I tell you, you can see I'm there moving the mouse on the screen, and it's so hard for me to not start moving things around and looking. And if you do that, it can kind of confuse it a little bit. So I try to not move the model or switch through tabs in the project. I don't have to. It's really hard. I have to sit on my hands and watch this. And I think about, if I were building this model, it might take me this long too. And I am finding after it's building things, it's making notes on how it built it. It's finding out what didn't work. It's making notes of that. And it's also making notes of what did work. So when you start doing additional models, it's going to know those things. It can reference them quickly from some files that it's writing to in the directory um, that houses all of this. On the fillets, not this million. And naming the bodies, let's see if the names change. Oh, there I go again. I'm clicking on it. My terminal window goes behind the Fusion window. Popped it back up so we can see what's going on. And again, guys, if you're just joining this video, be nice. This is my first one. One of my first YouTube videos to do, especially this type of the voiceover, and something that I think is so just profound. Uh, this is changing everything. I think let's take another look. Yes, can proceed. Or if I press 2, it's not going to ask me again. It's going to go ahead and just look at those. So I think later on in the sequence, I do tell it to go to number 2, where it can just go ahead and look at those. I trust it. Probably the famous last words, right? Well, you can kind of see the token count. We're burning a lot of tokens here. So I think the Claude Max plan is going to be required, or a lot of patience using the Pro plan. I've tried some of the other models of Opus, the lower numbered ones that are a little bit more inexpensive to run, and they didn't do well at all. I think right now for this stage, the Opus 4.6 is what I'm doing and using. I think it's kind of necessary. Let's to look again. Context window 6% for this session. So this is a million token context window, which is huge. Okay, that was Oscar moving the image himself. I find that so brilliant. Love it. He wants to take a little different look at it. Probably another screenshot and a view as well. So that context window of 6%, when that starts, it's basically how much stuff it has in its brain right now for this one session in Claude code. And when that context window starts approaching like 50% or so, sometimes it's like got too many things in its head and it kind of loses its way sometimes, like all of us do. So I watch that context window, and when it hits 30%, I usually kind of stop and move to another window. And before I stop and move on to another instance of Oscar in Claude Code, I'll ask it to make its final notes about this current session, so we don't have to start over from scratch the next time. So it will make notes on what it learned. We're 11 minutes, 22 seconds into that design so far. I think it's going to give us a quick voice summary of what it did here soon, if I remember correctly. His voice is much more refined than mine, so.
I just finished designing a cascade lighter stand with 3 stair-step pockets that gradually increase in height from left to right.
All right, so here's what I say, Oscar, you did a great job, but I really want this to more fit the BIC lighters. So to be complementary overall. However, I imagined the holes would be sort of that oval shape of a Bic lighter, and we didn't really get that. And this is my bad. I'm going to be learning how to make my initial request of what this does and what it creates more clear the very first time. Can you change that? And I was hoping it would kind of start editing this one, but I think it wiped it out and moved on to a different tab again, which is fine because it has learned quite a few things in this. And you'll see that the next iteration it does it much more quickly. Great call. Bic lighters have a distinctive shape. So it did, it wiped out the whole file. Actually, I don't think it wiped out. It started over on a new one. And, I didn't tell it that the Bic lighters were oval. It just kind of knows that. That's why, the prompt I gave it was purposefully vague just to see how well it actually could do. And there's me up there monkeying around with those again. I can just let it go. One of the things it's doing now is it pins the tab that it's working on to itself, so that if I go up there and I flip to a different tab, my first iteration of this, it would start doing the changes in the new tab that I had opened or the other tab that I had opened. So now I've said, hey, you need to kind of pin these tabs or lock them some way, and it has implemented that. So it locks the tab it's working on while it's working on it. It's bloviating right now. Oh yeah, look at that timeline. Amazing. Context window is still 6%. Their Claude usage. Our 2-hour limit is at 2% on the max plan, running Opus 4.6. Giving us a little bit more room there in the text window, the terminal window where we're working and communicating with Claude Code through Oscar. This is the 10mm step fillet conflicts with the pocket cuts. Let me try a more conservative approach. So it learned something there. And I told it, great catch, Oscar. Actually, wait. For some reason, the terminal window often resets back to the very top. I'm not sure what's doing that. It's amazing the notes here. So it's basically pre-thinking of all this stuff, setting it up before it sends it to Fusion via the MCP. And again, that's sort of the API backend of your own copy of Fusion running on your own computer. So we're doing, the Fusion's running totally locally. Claude through with Oscar that's running on the cloud through the Anthropic servers. It's got some notes there. It's learned again. The top edge fillets consume the flat surface. So it's going to start over using the right build order. This right here where it says pen to document, that's basically, Fusion is connected to this particular file in Fusion. Oscar is locked onto this one right now. We're at 5 minutes in this build. Remember the other one, we were at like 12, 15 minutes in that one too. So this one is going faster based on prior learnings. It's saying how they failed again and again. This is, I think, we all, when we were starting to learn how to do Fusion and draw and design things, we had that happen a lot. And it's going to remember those things and probably never do them again. Okay. It's taking another picture. I think this is where I said, yes, you can do it all the time. Two, yeah. So it's going to stop and ask me. It's going to go ahead and take the picture and look at it. So I trust it now. That's it moving things on its own. I tell you, this is fascinating to watch. Again, it feels painfully slow sometimes to watch it, but it's probably going faster than I personally can. But time doesn't go by as fast as if I'm personally doing it. It's moving these to the ISO top left view. Amazing. The picture, Fusion capture, only capturing this window though. It's not capturing like your entire desktop, which I found that reassuring. And some key learnings. There it is.
I just finished up a session working on the Cascade Stand V2 design with those oval pockets we tailored for the BIC lighter. The model's ready to go with all 3 stadium-shaped pockets showing up clearly.
See, I tell it, I don't see these pockets that you speak of, and those are definitely a fundamental of the design. So let's see what it does to correct it. Look, it's named the body. It's named all the sketches. It's named construction profiles, or sorry, I can't think of what that's called. Planes, construction planes. Now it's baked and it's churning about these pockets. Let me see if the pockets actually worked. They may have gone the wrong direction. We've done that before. I have printed this model, so I think I'm going to put this model on Maker World for you guys to see. You can even download it and print it and look at it. It's pretty cool. So he rolled back the timeline. Instead of starting over, they roll back on the timeline, which I think is fantastic. It rolled back here itself. Love that. Can't remember if it was this model, but one of the models, actually, I asked Oscar if he could send it to the printer. And it found out I was using Bamboo Studio. It asked for permission where I have to hit a key to actually let it launch that exe file, and sure enough, it did. It opened Bamboo Studio with the model in it. No target body found to cut or intersect, probably here. And I tell you, in my own modeling, I've done the same thing, that's for sure. But here it's going to learn, and it won't do that again. Again, I've just been using this for a few sessions so far, and I had to share with you guys. So again, just to recap, what we're waiting on is we're waiting on those little pockets to be cut into the stand that's actually going to hold the BIC lighters. So if you find this over on MakerWorld, I'll put a link in the description of the video. If you find it, I'd say give it a like, give me a boost. I need to pay for this $200 a month max plan for Claude. It's expensive, but I think it's worth it. It's an investment in my own learning, and wanted to share that with you guys too. So again, we're waiting on it to get these pockets cut into it. The pockets that will actually hold the lighters. So it's kind of a fundamental design. Well, it's a fundamental part of the design I asked it to build. So I'm a little bit disappointed that it didn't get it right the first time. But here it's diagnosed. It selected the wrong profile when it tried to do these cuts. So at least it knows what it did. It's going to remember that. So there's no ISO is direction flipped. It's not a thing, so it finds another way to do it in Fusion. Pockets are probably cut. The volume went down. Makes sense. The amount of material used. I'm still not seeing it though. Sometimes I'm finding that the API is going so fast behind the scenes that sometimes this isn't catching up exactly with it. And if you kind of just give it a minute, they'll pop in. Holy smokes, look at that. And it moved it to its own position. It's getting a picture of it. Wants to see what it looks like. Now that's the Cascades stand, it said. It's excited about it. I like that. Oval pockets matching the shape of the bodies. What did it get? One more picture. The lighters will drop in, orient correctly, and won't spin thanks to the oval pocket shape.
I just finished designing the Cascade lighter stand with those oval pockets. We're talking 27 by 23 millimeters with a stadium shape, 38 millimeters deep, and the step heights are 43, 58, and 73 millimeters.
Pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. So this is what I want you to see. This is really important. So we're looking at the user parameters. It's defining all of these. It's naming them. It's giving you the values. And so if you want to adjust your stand after it's been completed, you can come in and manually change any of these numbers. May or may not work, but it will work mostly unless you're starting to like make some illegal geometry that the fillet's no longer going to fit. It's already been done. So, and I'm saying, all right, remember to name the tab up. It's right now it's untitled 5. And I'm saying, remember each time to name this tab. Nobody wants to be known as untitled. You can do it. And I'm watching up there at the top of the screen. That tab is now called untitled. Let's see if it does it. All right, so longer untitled, it says Cascade Lighter Stand, version 5. That is incredible. So those are things I want to remember every time. So it will commit this to its local memory on my system so it knows what I want. For something we've never tested before, can you send this file to, we've never done this
I just
before.
renamed that untitled project to Cascade Lighter Stand and asked if you want to save it.
Can you send this over to the Bamboo Slicer? It's thinking, and this is when, these moments here when I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And finally, yes, are there any new learnings from this particular session, this exercise, that you'd like to make a note of for future reference? And I think this is really important. It's an iterative innovation that you're going to see with this system. The other hazard there is if it commits something to its memory that's wrong, you're going to see problems with that. So that's something else to be aware of. So it's going to give it a shot at trying to export the body as an STL and launch Bamboo Studio with it. Crazy. There it is. It found the executable for Bamboo. You want to do it? Sure, why not? And I think this ended up popping up onto my second monitor, so I think I drag it over into this one just so you guys can see it. And again, finally, are there any learnings? Still trying to get over to Bamboo Studio. It's kind of working, and we can't really put this one in right now while it's kind of still doing its thing on getting this over to Bamboo again. It's never done this before. So it's going to figure out how to get it over to Bamboo. Should be opening with the Cascade loaded on the
So
build
I just
plate.
wrapped up a session where I loaded a 3D model of a Cascade Lighter Stand
There it
into
is.
Fusion,
Holy
converted it to a
smokes.
slicer format, and sent it straight to Bamboo Studio to prep for printing.
Crazy. Crazy. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Amazing.
So I just wrapped up a session where Bamboo Studio loaded, and I'm asking if the Cascade Lighter Stand came through on the build plate and how it looks in the slicer.
That's me working in Bamboo. It's not Oscar moving things around. I can't do that just yet. And well, I know there are some ways to make it do stuff like that, but I don't want that stuff on my computer. I like it more of a compartmentalized into at least one directory and ask for permission when it needs to go outside the directory. So now it's assessing this right here. Any things that you like to make notes of. And I think this is extremely good practice, best practice when you're finishing up a session. Yep, there's some hard-won lessons from this session worth saving. And it's going to make some notes probably about filleting and direction of profiles, and it's writing this memory. And this is being saved locally on my own computer. So remember to go to GitHub and find this. I will link that in the description as well. And again, this again is a very starting rudimentary beginning, which is earth shattering. It really is. All right, guys, this is going to finish up here. I'm going to wrap this up, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you have any suggestions for improvement, any things you've done in your own like practice that are similar to this, let's share. Why not? Um, this is nuts, bananas.
I just wrapped up a session and saved 4 lessons about CAD techniques, including this pattern for cutting pockets using a tool body with an extrude offset. I just saved everything to your project's memory folder, and there's an index file in there to help you keep track of it all.
Um, Here is where I just kind of want to show you what it's saving with these memories. You say for feedback on extrude cut, and it it's okay. This is about saving the file, the actual Cascade
I
send
just
file
saved the
is.
Cascade lighter stand design to your Fusion 360 Cloud project. It's all backed up and ready to go.
That's pretty cool. And always be kind to your agents. Let them know when they're doing a great job, and also let them know when they're not doing a good job by maybe showing them how to do a good job or what a good job would look like. And that's where you're going to be getting those big wins. Good job, Oscar. Thank you. That was a fun session. It was.
So I just wrapped up a session where we went from concept all the way through to a finished 3D model with some custom features like oval pockets. Everything got saved, and you're all set to start printing.